Greetings, welcome to my channel, Midnight Contemplations Art, and today I will be doing some aesthetic art. And what I mean by that is sort of when you go and get an aesthetic from the internet, or make one yourself perhaps, and draw a character or something to do with that. And I really enjoy this type of art mainly just because of the sort of how do I say this? It gives you a direction, but it doesn't tell you what to do, and I really enjoy that. So here I have the first companion piece, so these companion pieces are portraits I've done of characters that I've done previously, which I don't really like these portraits as much, just because I was rushing them quite a bit when I was making them. Most of these are much shorter than I would normally draw a character for. I think it's just the fact that I wanted to get it done just in time for this video, so they aren't the greatest quality, but hopefully you'll be able to forgive me for this sort of rushed look. So these companion pieces are for a contest which I have joined, and yeah, this exists, I guess. Hopefully I'll win, but there are obviously going to be quite a few entries, and I probably won't. So this portrait I don't like as much as I thought I would. I just think she looks very blank and sort of boring in her environment. Considering her environment is just so bright and vibrant and beautiful, she isn't interacting with it in any way. She just sort of is smiling and looking slightly to the left, which is annoying because I enjoy putting expression on my characters, but yeah, I guess in this instance I couldn't really think of anything to do. This is why I definitely liked my full body finished pieces better, just because they give a sort of idea or look of what's going on, and they give a sort of expression of who this person is and what they're doing. For example, for this piece's companion, it's someone taking a selfie, so they're probably a tourist, and she's wearing a very summer holiday dress, so it sort of gives that idea. And then I'm thinking up stories for these characters. For this one I'm thinking someone goes on a holiday, and then I'm thinking she's probably going to have a very normal job beforehand, I don't know, an accountant, something very monotonous, and then one day she decides this is not for me. So she moves, she makes her hair a bright colour, makes it short, and then she goes out travelling the globe and discovering who she is, which is a really cute story, I think. And I would enjoy seeing more of this character, just because I think her character design is very fun and very bright. Yeah. As for the aesthetic of this piece, I really like the pastel colours with the darker blues, because there are 3 pastels and then the darker blues, and I think it just makes the piece look very different to most pastel pieces, just because most pastel pieces tend to stick to only pastels with maybe the bright white or really the rich black, while these sort of make the colours a bit more natural almost. With this piece, I just really don't like the way the expression went. It just sort of looks very bored, she isn't really doing anything, and I don't like that at all. Yeah, and the more I look at it, the more it just looks a bit dull as an art piece. And I think that's really the problem with some beginner artists as well, is that they spend too much time looking at how to make their characters look pretty, and most of their art is basically a pretty person looking slightly to the left, which is good and by no means a bad artwork, but still a bit samey. So that's the original piece, that's the companion to this one, and I like it much better just because she's doing something and you can see expression and an idea of what she's doing. She's taking a selfie at her holiday, and this is a portrait which I don't like as much, but I guess it is still a nice idea and work. So here we have the second piece out of 3, which is an aesthetic of a sort of garden with a park bench. And I think it's really pretty and I would actually enjoy going here. With this character, I was planning on doing sort of a shy looking away thing, just because I didn't like how the first one had basically no expression. So the original character looks a bit different. I think she just looks a bit more confident, I guess. But I didn't really mean to do that, so I'm not really sure how I gave her that air of confidence. It might just be I don't know, the way I drew her, maybe slight inclination of the eyebrows or something. That's something that you have to make sure of in art. You never really know which line is going to make such a big difference. This piece I think I did a bit better in the terms of expression and sort of making this art piece a bit more poppy and give it an idea. She looks kind of shy, it looks like she's looking away, but we don't really know why. I really like her hair in this one. I really like the sort of flowy, wavy hair with the flowers. I think it might just be because I also have kind of flowy, wavy hair. It's very long at this point, but I don't really want to cut it. So, yeah, so this might just be me emulating someone who looks a bit like me, even though, other than the hair, she doesn't really look like me at all. I have very boring eyes, not vivid green, just very dark brown. So with her top, I actually have a top like that, so I sort of went to my closet, brought it out, and then had a look at how this would work. And I think that's very useful, having a real life reference for clothing, because you can see how the folds work and how it would drape over someone, which is probably a bit better than looking at a picture on the internet, because usually they're either flat on a white background, sort of just laying there, or on someone who might not be in the same pose or have the same look like you want. So I was just lucky to have a shirt like that. So here I'm doing the highlights, which I think look alright. I do have a habit of over blending though, which I kind of want to get rid of. But I think the problem is I just don't know where to blend. It's sort of... With blending and shading, it's very much a sort of give or take of where you put it. But I don't think it looks terrible. There's definitely nowhere where it looks like I don't know what's going on, but it's still a bit over blended and too sleek. So the shading is overall just that, I don't do all that much here. I think it's just because I was sort of confused as to where the lighting was coming from actually with this piece, because I think I started with it in the original piece in the back, so sort of a backlit drawing with her looking a bit more shadowed than the rest of the area. But then I think in this piece I started doing it from the front left, so it was sort of, I was looking back at the original, but the original didn't have anything to do with the lighting here, so I got a bit confused. So we just are doing the hair for an immeasurable amount of time, just because hair is a bit harder for me to do, just because with the style I have, it's very much flat colours with some shading and stuff, but hair is very intricate, so I don't really know how to translate that into my style without it having weird repercussions of it being a bit too bashed together as a style. But yeah, I might do some studies and try and see how I can translate realistic hair into my style without it being this weird dissonance of styles. Oh yeah, and I did get a question about which brushes I use. I use very normal brushes, honestly. In fact, I sort of just rotate between the three. There's one called a soft pencil, which is just the one I use for sketching, just because it emulates the real pencil the most. And then I use a sort of ink brush that has size pressure sensitivity, so you just sort of press harder and the line gets thicker, press not as hard and you get a thinner line, which is good for line art just because you don't have to worry about it as much because you can just sort of put emphasis on different lines. And then I just use it like the normal marker brush. So here's the original. I like it quite a bit just because like it looks very serene and like she looks at peace, and I think that's fun. Just having a character who doesn't really have expression, but you can still see what they're thinking. And I think like just in general, I think I posed it well, etc. And this is a portrait. She looks a bit different, but I think that's just because of like the backlight. And yeah. So here is the third piece out of 3. Here, I don't know, I feel like the end product ended up looking different to the character, like a lot different, and I don't really know why. It's a bit confusing to me actually how that ended up happening, because I didn't have any like external references at all, so I just had my original piece, so I'm not sure how she ended up looking different and almost like Zendaya, as a friend of mine commented. And this has a big time skip. I don't know why. I think my video capture might have just blacked out for a second and I didn't notice. So we skipped a lot of the colouring and lighting stages, but hopefully you can still see what I'd done. I just sort of blocked in colours and added a little bit of shading. The lighting in here was a bit annoying since it was orange because of the sunlight, because of the sunset. But it still looked a bit weird just on like the grey of her top. Also, I don't like how you can't see all the details on her top that I put on the original drawing, which I really liked, and I sort of thought it gave it like a fun sort of look, and you can't see them at all. So it just looks like she's wearing a very boring white grey top, which isn't the case at all. She's wearing actually like one with bell sleeves and lots of little details and like really flowy green skirt with like big patterns on it, but you can't see any of that, which I don't like at all. But yeah, so here I'm just doing the shading. It's all very basic. I'm not really doing much, just putting the shading where the darker areas would be because of how the face is a 3D object. And here I'm just doing the shadow for how the hair falls onto the shoulder, so there would be a shadow there. And a little bit of shadow there just to give emphasis to the fact that there's 2 split lines. Honestly, I feel like this piece is my least favourite just because like it's not my least favourite. Actually, it's the first one that I don't like as much, but I feel like this one it looks like a different person, not a character I made, and I don't like that. So here's the original. I really like it. It gives a sort of like Sound of Music vibe of twirling in like a flower field, but like it gives it its own like twist. And I really liked her skirt and top combo. I think that's fun, very festive looking. And here's the portrait. I forgot to take the extra lining off. I did do that for the competition though, so it's fine. Thank you for watching my video. Yeah, it's just really cool to think that someone has watched this and they're enjoying it. So I hope that you guys are doing well in this sort of troubling time that the world is going through, and yeah, so hope you all have a great day and be very productive. Bye!